What's up, everybody? Today, a special podcast YouTube video for you. We're going to be analyzing Andrew Hiller's diet. He was kind enough to send me a full day of eating, and I'm going to go over what I like, what I don't like, and what I would change so that he can fully recomp, improve performance, and look like he does 4 to 5 WODs every single week. Now, before we get started, I know that a lot of you are following and watching these videos, but are not subscribed to the channel. Now, if you take 2 seconds, I would love for you to subscribe so that you can get free access to these videos and get first notified every time we have something new that comes out. We're posting 4, sometimes more every single week, and that way you could stay up to date on how to lose body fat, build muscle, and crush your WODs entirely for free from the WOD Nutritionist. Now, let's get into it. I want to consider first Andrew's goals because we have to keep that in perspective when we're describing someone's diet. The way that you tackle your nutrition is largely dependent upon where you want to be now versus where you want to be 3 to 6 months from now. And so for Andrew, he wants to obviously continue to improve body composition and continue to excel performance-wise. So with that in mind, I want to go over a specific plan based off of what he's currently eating, what I would change, and what I really love about what he's currently doing now. So let's get started. Andrew is 195 pounds. He is 33 years old and he is 5'9". All right, so these are his anthropometrics. This, along with someone's activity level, dictate the total caloric intake they need in a day, and then from there, the macronutrient distribution, meaning how much protein, how much carbs, and how much fat that they need. So with that in mind, my recommendation for Hiller would be to be targeting somewhere between 180 and 200 grams of protein daily. His carbohydrate amount based off of 2 workout sessions per day, I would say at a minimum of 450. Up from there, depending on his intensity level and total volume, which I'm not completely aware of at this point. So we're going to make some estimates. And then his fat, I would say around half his body weight, which is 80 to 90 grams. So that's of total fat for a given day. So first thing I'll mention is I'll show some pictures throughout this YouTube video of what Andrew is eating in a given day. So understanding what Hiller's eating is going to be super helpful so that I can make some recommendations. One thing I'll note is that Andrew does not track macros, which I absolutely love. So the first meal that Hiller sent me was very simple. It's actually a video of him pouring 2 scoops of Explode into a shaker bottle. So that's his first meal. Now, Hiller did mention that right after this, he does get going on his workout. So a couple of considerations on Explode, and then I'm just gonna go through everything and make recommendations probably at the end. So with Explode itself, it has a number of different things that I really love in it. Number 1, it has creatine. We know creatine is the most important supplement if you're doing 4 to 5 watts per week. It's very hard to get it naturally occurring or enough of it from fish and red meat and in food products. And so supplementing with it is a good thing to do. So I love the fact that there's creatine in Explode. So Hiller, good work on that. Next, it also has beta-alanine in it. Beta-alanine acts as a way to buffer out H+ ions and acidity. If you guys ever feel that burning sensation when you do a lot of wall balls in a row, that's H+ acidity in the muscle. Beta-alanine helps filter and clear this out so that you can keep pushing harder in your WODs. And then very similarly, there's sodium bicarbonate inside of Explode as well, which can also help through this via a different pathway as opposed to the carnosine pathway, which is good. So those are the benefits of Explode. The thing with Explode is the beta-alanine itself creates that one side effect that a lot of us know when taking pre-workouts is the kind of jittery, itchy feeling of the skin. This is a side effect of beta-alanine, very common, and eventually as that feeling wears away, people start taking more Explode. And that's what you see Hiller doing here. He's taking 2 scoops as opposed to the recommended 1 scoop because he has a cumulative effect of the beta-alanine in Explode, so he feels like he needs more. So what I recommend for most people is take beta-alanine consistently throughout the year through Explode or whatever other supplement, and then add a half scoop or an extra second scoop whenever you're starting to gear up for competition, about 2 weeks out. That way you get that added benefit of the beta-alanine in Explode, and you don't have this accumulative effect where it's not working as powerfully as it should be. So that's one tip I would give Hiller for his Explode because he is taking 2 scoops before his first workout already. When the usual recommended dose is 1, you would just double this up before competition. So that's his first workout. With the scoops that he presented here, this is 10 to 15 total net carbs. That's the total macros that are in Explode. And so I would much rather see Hiller eat some pre-workout pre-workout carbohydrates here with the Explode. Maybe a little overnight oats, maybe a banana. Really easily digestible carbohydrates that, of course, allow for him to be able to push further in his workouts. And so more on this later, but that's one thing that I would love to see more from him on, especially prior to this workout. So his next meal he sent me, I actually love this meal. It's probably one of my favorite meals. This is post-workout, later on, a little bit later on in the day after he's done his workout. And it consists of about 5 eggs, full egg yolks, love that, 1 cup of rice, and 8 handfuls of blueberries. So I'm gonna go through the macros on this and explain a little bit more. So 5 eggs, amazing source of protein. It's basically an entire animal. It has all of the essential amino acids. The profile on eggs is amazing. And so using eggs as your protein source is a really, really great choice. So Hiller, amazing work on that. Also, the fat in the egg yolk. Amazing. It helps us get in those extra calories. There are good omegas in there. And so keep up with that. Yeah, there's some saturated fat in there, but as long as you're, not overeating calories and, you're at a body weight that's not healthy, you're going to be totally fine eating saturated fat. And there's a lot of studies proving that. And so in this case, the eggs accumulate to 30 grams of protein and the egg yolks to 30 grams of fat. So now we're starting to chip away at some calories throughout the day, which is good. Cup of rice cooked 40 grams. And then the 8 handful of blueberries is about 80 grams of carbohydrates. And you'll see this throughout the rest of this video as Hiller loves to get his carbohydrates through fruit. So the 8 handful of blueberries, 80 grams. So that equals 120 grams of carbohydrates post-workout. This is absolutely phenomenal, especially since he doesn't have any carbs pre-workout or intra-workout. And so this was a really great meal. The next, he basically sent me 5 to 6 ounces of ham. And so obviously, I think what Hiller's doing here is he's thinking protein first, which is really good. And so eating 5 to 6 ounces of ham is going to allow for him to get that extra protein in that is absolutely necessary to make sure that we're recovering properly from our WODs, repairing muscle tissue, and building more muscle tissue over time. Protein is the most important macro if you're doing 4 to 5 watts per week. I think he knows that. And so this is another 30 to 35 grams of protein. And so that's awesome. And then he proceeds with another scoop of pre-workout. Explode, right? So I think this really gets him going for his workout. It's part of his routine and habit. There's nothing wrong with Explode. As I mentioned before, it does have some really great benefits. So we're obviously keeping that in mind. And then he hits his second session of the day. After that session, where I think he had an original dinner meal, and then separately he has like a second dinner, right? Where he probably went right after, knew he needed more, and went and got more. So this accumulates to 5 total tacos. And as you could see in the picture here, there's a lot of protein on each taco. And so great beef has a lot of vitamin B12, has a lot of iron, and it is a great protein source. That's the benefits of red meat. I also love red meat before bed or at dinner time. Your body can digest throughout the night, get the recovery that it needs, and the next morning you're ready to go. So I love this. I estimated this to be around 12 ounces total between all 5 tacos, which is 72 grams of protein. Excellent, right? Getting in more protein, really, really great. And then the tortillas, 20 grams per tortilla. It's 5 total tortillas here. And so that equals 100 grams of carbohydrates, which is good. And then last 2 things, the vegetables that he put on. First veggies of the day, not bad because he is, eating the fruit and blueberries earlier in the day that have fiber and some of those phytonutrients and antioxidants in them. But these are the first veggies of the day here. And then you can also see 5 heaping scoops of sour cream on each taco, which estimates around 60 grams of fat. So he washes it down a little bit later with a sparkling ice, 0 calorie, probably just something routine-wise, a drink that he loves to drink, probably keeps him away from the soda and all the extra sugary stuff. Now at the end of the day, he's not training. He knows he doesn't need. And so I really like that. I personally like seltzers. I like the poppies and seltzers. They're basically 0 calories. And so this is a really good, nighttime habit to get into. So believe it or not, that concludes Hiller's day of eating. I'm going to go over a couple of considerations here. So stick with me of things I would change. I've already went through a lot of the stuff that I like and then a couple of things that I dislike. And, maybe he'll start implementing some of these things. Let me coach him for a few weeks so that we can get some really, some other habits in order for him to really start improving. So a couple things that I liked. I liked the fact that he was big on protein for each meal that he had. That's super important. I like the fact that he's pretty much on most supplements we recommend for those doing 4 to 5 watts per week. Creatine, beta-alanine, and then a bicarbonate. Other than that, I would maybe recommend some omegas for him, an omega-3 mixed with vitamin D3, just for overall health. Another thing I like is that he doesn't track macros, right? He just knows intuitively a little bit like what the portion sizes need to be. He eats, but the thing that I disliked about his overall approach was he's not really eating enough that I feel could have him maximizing performance the most. So I'm going to go over some of the calorie amounts as well as just the total macronutrients, where I'm going to focus on what his day should be, and then I'll go over what I recommended as to what I would, have him doing. So first thing is protein. He does have some big protein meals in here, but he doesn't have enough meals to actually make the biggest dent in the protein category as I would like him to. And so estimated here around 140 grams of protein for Hiller. Not bad. I think I mentioned before at the beginning of this video, I would recommend somewhere for him in the 180 to 200 grams of protein per day. He's right around 140. This goes to show you guys how difficult getting in your protein goal can be. If you intermittent fast or if you don't prioritize it and have enough meals, you're not going to hit your protein goal. And that is the number one determiner of you recovering well, staying satiated, losing body fat, and just overall performance. So protein is the most important macro. If you do 4 to 5 watts per week, you're going to have to start considering, how do I really make a good flow of my day and habits to build the protein amount that I need on a daily basis? Even with these big protein meals, he's only at around 140. So let's stop at protein for a minute, because this is actually the most important. What I would recommend is for Hiller to just add in a protein shake after each workout. If he added in a protein shake after each workout, after his first session and after the second session, that's 25 grams each. That would equal now 140 plus 50, 190, which is exactly where I'd like for him to be in terms of total protein quantity in grams per day. This could be a really great way to close the gap on his protein. Really simple change for him. That's all he has to do. Otherwise, he has to add protein to some of those other meals or get in an extra meal at some point, maybe before that first training session where he just has Explode. Next, carbohydrates. So I estimate with all of the meals here shown, Hiller's carbohydrate amount is around the 275, maybe the top end 300 grams. And so what I recommended for him at the beginning of this video, based on his body weight, his height, his age, his activity level, was 450 plus, a minimum of 450. And then I would have to go into the details and the weeds of his actual training program to recommend more. So for this, a couple of things that I would like to see him do differently. Number one, he needs pre-workout carbohydrates. I would say 40 to 60 right there alone. More fruit if he likes it, overnight oats, something that allows for him to top off those glycogen levels, which is obviously, we know, carbohydrates stored in the muscle, gives him more fuel for that first training session. He could also add in a little bit more carbs before his second training session, right? With the Explode, maybe he has like a carbohydrate powder or something like that he can actually start taking in. That could easily bring his carbohydrate amount to the 350 range. Now, another thing is Hiller's training sessions are not like 30 minutes. They're longer. They're an hour, 2 hours, right? And so throughout this training session, I would love to see some intra-workout carbs. That's going to allow him to keep pushing in his workout, really making sure he has the energy, especially for those longer sessions. If you're working out 30 minutes to an hour, you may not need intra-workout carbs. You could probably just eat some carbs before and then after. But for him, if his sessions are an hour, 2 hours, maybe longer, he has to get in intra-workout carbs. So I recommend another 40 to 60 for each session. And if he does this, this would get him to the 450 that I think that he needs. I would love to see him incorporate this. I think this could be a great way. And then obviously that lunch meal that he sent over, where it's just the cold cuts of the ham or turkey, you can definitely add in more carbs there. Just put it on a sandwich. Really, really easy to do that. And that could get in the extra carbs needed and get him up to even 500. So that's where I'd really love to see him be. And there are really good gaps in his actual training sessions before and during where he can easily get that in. I love some of the great intra-workout carbs I would recommend is you can get a dextrose powder, which is great. You can use Gatorade. This also helps rehydrate because Gatorade has sodium in it. So it's a 2-for-1, which is awesome. A lot of athletes will utilize sugar and candy and some other things there. Not as naturally occurring stuff, but still nonetheless getting in the carbohydrate totals that he needs. And if you want to go cleaner, you can go the honey, you can go the date, right? Stuff like that. So that's the intra-workout side. And then fat, man, he's actually really good on the fat. He hit 100 grams with the sour cream, as well as with the egg yolks in the morning. And so those are some really great things. And that's going to tremendously help his body composition. It's going to tremendously help, I think, more on the recovery side than anything else to make sure he's fueled properly for the WODs and the training that he's doing. So those are my considerations for him. We'll see if he takes my tips. Is there something I missed when it comes to his diet that you you would incorporate? Or what recommendations would you make to Hiller to better improve his performance, to better improve his body composition? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you guys think. I, of course, have been helping people doing 4 to 5 watts per week with their nutrition for the last 10 years. We've helped over 10,000 people reach their goals without tracking macros. So hopefully these are some recommendations he'll take me up on and we can go back and forth. We'll see. But either way, if you're someone that's tired of tracking macros, you don't have the time, but you want to know what to eat, you want your homework done for you, and you want to understand how to lose body fat, build muscle, and crush your wads without tracking macros once and for all, you can click the link below in the description and you can learn more about our program. And if you're looking to take a next step, you can work with one of the 11 amazing, mostly women and some men on my team that coach and help people get the best results possible. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.